Hello there, and welcome to the Sleepy Science Zone. Tonight, something important is happening inside your body, even if it doesn't feel dramatic, even if nothing seems to change on the surface. In fact, the most powerful healing processes in human biology often begin in silence, not with effort, not with force, but with permission. And the first night of healing is the night when your body is finally allowed to stop defending and start restoring. Here is the quiet truth that modern science keeps rediscovering. Your body does not heal best when it is alert, productive, or vigilant. It heals when it feels safe enough to slow down. Within minutes of lying still, closing your eyes, and letting your breathing soften, your nervous system begins a measurable transition. Levels of cortisol, the primary stress hormone, start to decline. The sympathetic nervous system, the system responsible for urgency, tension, and readiness, gradually reduces its activity. In its place, the parasympathetic nervous system begins to dominate. This is not a metaphor. This is a shift that can be measured in heart rate variability, blood pressure patterns, and brainwave activity. On the first night, your brain begins by changing its rhythm. During waking hours, your cortex is dominated by fast beta waves, associated with problem solving and alertness. As the night begins, these waves slow into alpha frequencies, signaling relaxed awareness. This transition alone reduces metabolic demand in large regions of the brain. Neurons that fired continuously throughout the day finally reduce their firing rate. Synaptic activity becomes less rigid, allowing cellular cleanup processes to quietly begin. At the same time, your cardiovascular system responds. Heart rate slows by several beats per minute. Blood pressure decreases slightly, easing mechanical stress on blood vessels. Circulation shifts away from skeletal muscles and toward internal organs. This redistribution allows the liver, kidneys, and gastrointestinal system to prepare for their nighttime roles, filtering blood, regulating glucose, and clearing metabolic byproducts accumulated during the day. Your immune system also responds to this first night of rest. Research shows that early sleep stages are associated with changes in cytokine signaling, chemical messengers that regulate inflammation and immune activity. Pro-inflammatory signals gradually decrease, while restorative immune processes begin to organize for deeper sleep cycles later in the night. White blood cells alter their migration patterns, conserving energy and preparing for tissue repair tasks that intensify during slow-wave sleep. Importantly, nothing about this first night feels intense. Healing does not announce itself. It whispers. Muscles begin to release low-level tension that has been maintained unconsciously all day. The jaw loosens. The shoulders drop fractionally. Tiny postural muscles, especially those in the neck and lower back, begin to deactivate. This reduces background nerve firing and lowers overall energy expenditure. Inside your cells, energy metabolism begins to shift as well. As physical activity stops, glucose utilization decreases and cellular repair pathways slowly activate. Mitochondria, the energy-producing structures inside each cell, reduce reactive oxygen output, limiting cellular stress. DNA repair enzymes, always active at low levels, begin to work more efficiently in the calmer internal environment. The first night of healing is not about dramatic regeneration. It is about signaling. It is the biological message that tells your body it is no longer required to stay on guard. that the environment is stable, that repair can safely begin. You do not need to force this process. You do not need to think your way into healing. Your body already knows how to do this. Tonight, it has simply been given the space to start. By the second night, something subtle but meaningful has already changed. Your body remembers that rest is possible. The nervous system no longer hesitates as much at the edge of sleep. And as you drift downward again, the brain begins to enter deeper territory where real repair quietly unfolds. During the first night, your brain learned that it was safe to slow down. During the second night, it begins to use that safety. Brain activity transitions more smoothly from relaxed alpha waves into slower theta rhythms, the frequencies associated with early sleep and the gateway to deeper stages. This shift is not merely about unconsciousness. It is about coordination. Billions of neurons begin to synchronize their activity, firing less often but more efficiently, conserving energy and reducing noise. One of the most important processes that strengthens on the second night is memory consolidation. Throughout the day, your brain continuously records experiences, emotions, and sensory details. But it does not fully process them in real time. That work is saved for sleep. During the second night, communication between the hippocampus and the cerebral cortex becomes more rhythmic. Information is gently replayed, not as vivid memories, but as quiet electrical patterns that help sort what matters from what does not. At the same time, the brain's cleaning system becomes more active. Modern neuroscience has revealed a network called the glymphatic system, a fluid-based clearance pathway that operates most effectively during sleep. As brain cells slightly shrink during deeper relaxation, cerebrospinal fluid flows more freely through brain tissue. This movement helps wash away metabolic waste products, including proteins that accumulate during waking hours. On the second night, this process becomes more efficient as sleep depth stabilizes. This internal cleaning does not feel dramatic. There is no sensation attached to it. But over time, it contributes to clearer thinking, improved emotional regulation, and reduced neurological stress. The second night marks the point when the brain is no longer just resting. It is actively restoring itself. Hormonal rhythms also begin to realign more precisely. Melatonin secretion becomes more synchronized with darkness, reinforcing circadian timing. Growth hormone, which plays a role in tissue repair and cellular regeneration, begins to pulse more predictably during early deep sleep phases. These hormonal signals influence not only muscles and bones, but also the brain itself, supporting neural maintenance and synaptic balance. Emotionally, the second night carries quiet significance. Activity in the amygdala, the brain's threat detection center, decreases during healthy sleep cycles. Meanwhile, connections between emotional centers and the prefrontal cortex become less reactive. This allows emotional experiences from the day to be processed without triggering stress responses. The brain learns that it can review feelings without reliving them. As sleep deepens, sensory input from the outside world fades further. The thalamus, a relay station for sensory information, reduces the transmission of external signals. Sounds become distant. Body awareness softens. This sensory dampening protects the brain from interruption, allowing internal rhythms to take priority. By the end of the second night, your brain is no longer simply recovering from fatigue. It is recalibrating. Neural circuits are being tuned. Noise is being reduced. Balance is being restored. You do not need to notice this happening. In fact, the less you notice, the better it works. Your role is not to guide the process. It is simply to allow it. And tonight, your brain already knows the way. By the third night, your body is no longer merely responding to rest. It is beginning to anticipate it. Biological rhythms that were hesitant during the first night and cautious during the second now move with more confidence. And deep within this quiet rhythm, your immune system begins a significant transition, away from constant defense and toward careful repair. During waking hours, much of your immune activity is shaped by exposure. Every interaction, every surface, every breath requires vigilance. Immune cells remain partially activated, scanning for threats, responding to stress hormones, and maintaining readiness. But this constant state of alertness is not sustainable for healing. True repair requires calm coordination, not urgency. On the third night of consistent rest, immune signaling patterns begin to shift measurably. Levels of cortisol continue to normalize, reducing their suppressive effects on certain immune functions. This allows immune cells to communicate more clearly with one another. Cytokines, small signaling proteins that regulate inflammation, begin to rebalance. Pro-inflammatory signals that were elevated by stress or fatigue start to decline, while anti-inflammatory and regulatory signals increase. This does not mean your immune system becomes weaker. In fact, it becomes more precise. White blood cells, including T cells and natural killer cells, adjust their activity cycles. Instead of remaining in constant patrol mode, they begin focusing on maintenance tasks, identifying damaged cells, supporting tissue integrity, and preparing memory responses for future encounters. Research shows that sleep enhances the formation of immune memory, allowing your body to respond more effectively to challenges later on. Deep within your bone marrow, immune cell production subtly adapts to this calmer internal environment. Energy is no longer wasted on unnecessary activation. Instead, resources are allocated toward quality control, ensuring that newly formed cells are functional, balanced, and responsive rather than reactive. Inflammation, often misunderstood as purely harmful, also begins to normalize. Low-level inflammation that accumulates during stress and poor sleep gradually decreases. This reduction eases strain on blood vessels, joints, and connective tissue. It also reduces background signaling to the brain, contributing to a quieter mental state. Your lymphatic system plays a quiet but essential role during this third night. As muscles relax and breathing becomes slower and deeper, lymphatic flow improves. Waste products and excess fluids are more efficiently transported out of tissues. This supports immune balance and reduces subtle swelling that often goes unnoticed during the day. Importantly, none of this feels dramatic. You may not wake up feeling healed. Instead, you may notice something quieter. Less internal noise, slightly more stability, a subtle sense of ease. That is how immune repair often announces itself, not with sensation, but with absence. Less tension, less reactivity, less background discomfort. By the third night, your body understands that rest is not temporary. It is becoming a pattern. And within that pattern, your immune system begins to trust that it can stand down from constant defense. When that trust forms, repair can finally take priority. Tonight, your body is no longer just protecting itself. It is maintaining itself. And that distinction matters deeply. The fourth night marks a turning point that many people never consciously notice, yet feel the effects of days later. This is the night when physical tissues, muscles, connective tissue, and fascia begin genuine renewal rather than simple recovery. Fatigue fades not because effort returns, but because strain quietly releases. Throughout the day, your muscles perform thousands of micro-contractions to maintain posture, movement, and balance. Even when you sit still, muscles in your neck, back, and hips remain partially engaged. Over time, this creates microscopic stress within muscle fibers and the surrounding connective tissue. Sleep is not simply rest from movement. It is the environment required for repair. By the fourth night of consistent, deepening sleep, muscle activity during rest decreases further. Electromyographic studies show that baseline muscle tone drops more fully during non-REM sleep stages as the nervous system relaxes its control. This allows muscle fibers to lengthen slightly, releasing chronic low-grade tension that often persists unnoticed. At the cellular level, muscle repair accelerates. Growth hormone secretion, which peaks during deep sleep, supports protein synthesis within muscle fibers. Tiny micro-tears created by daily movement are repaired, not to make muscles larger, but to make them more resilient. This process also strengthens surrounding connective tissue, improving structural integrity without conscious effort. Fascia, the web-like connective tissue that surrounds muscles and organs, responds particularly well to this night. Fascia adapts slowly and responds to sustained conditions rather than sudden changes. When sleep becomes consistent, hydration within fascial layers improves. This increases elasticity and reduces stiffness, contributing to easier movement and reduced discomfort upon waking. Circulation continues to play a critical role. During the fourth night, improved blood flow delivers oxygen and nutrients to tissues that were undersupplied during periods of stress. At the same time, metabolic waste products are removed more efficiently. This exchange supports tissue health without producing sensation. You do not feel repair happening. You feel its absence when tension no longer returns. Joint health also benefits. Reduced inflammation and improved fluid movement within joints support cartilage maintenance. This is particularly important for areas that bear weight throughout the day, such as the knees, hips, and spine. Over time, this contributes to smoother movement and less stiffness. Perhaps most importantly, the nervous system continues to reduce its grip on the body. Muscles are no longer held in readiness. They are allowed to rest fully. This sends feedback to the brain that further reinforces safety. The body learns that it does not need to brace itself through the night. By the fourth night, healing becomes physical in a quiet, structural way. You may wake up without realizing why your body feels slightly lighter, slightly more at ease. That is renewal. Not dramatic, not sudden, but real. And it continues, gently as you rest. By the fifth night, healing moves deeper into systems you rarely think about, yet depend on constantly. This is the night when metabolism, detoxification, and internal chemistry begin to realign with a steadier rhythm, not through cleansing or forcing, but through timing. Biology heals best when processes happen at the right moment, in the right order, without interference. Your liver becomes especially active during this stage of sustained rest. Throughout the day, it manages glucose, processes nutrients, neutralizes toxins, and regulates cholesterol and hormones. Under stress or poor sleep, these tasks compete with elevated cortisol and irregular blood flow. But by the fifth night, the hormonal environment has shifted enough to give the liver priority. During deep non-REM sleep, hepatic blood flow increases slightly, allowing liver cells to perform metabolic processing more efficiently. Enzymes responsible for detoxification pathways, particularly those involved in breaking down byproducts of metabolism and environmental compounds, operate with greater consistency. This does not mean your body is purging. It means it is completing work that was postponed during waking hours. Glucose regulation also improves. Sleep plays a critical role in insulin sensitivity, and by the fifth night, insulin signaling begins to stabilize. Cells respond more appropriately to glucose, reducing unnecessary spikes and drops in blood sugar. This supports steady energy levels and reduces metabolic stress that would otherwise signal inflammation. At the same time, lipid metabolism quietly recalibrates. Fatty acid processing becomes more efficient, supporting cell membrane maintenance and hormone production. Cholesterol transport pathways shift toward balance rather than storage. These changes are subtle, but they reduce strain on blood vessels and support long-term cardiovascular health. Hormonal balance continues to refine itself. Cortisol follows a more predictable curve, declining fully at night and rising gently toward morning. Melatonin remains elevated longer, reinforcing circadian alignment. Thyroid hormones, which influence metabolic rate, respond indirectly to this stability, supporting a calmer internal pace. The digestive system also benefits. During the fifth night, gastrointestinal motility slows in a coordinated way, allowing repair of the gut lining. Cells in the intestinal epithelium regenerate rapidly during sleep, reinforcing barrier function. This reduces low-grade inflammation and improves nutrient absorption over time. Importantly, the brain monitors all of this quietly. Signals from the liver, gut, and endocrine system feed back into neural circuits that regulate appetite, energy, and mood. As internal chemistry stabilizes, the brain receives fewer distress signals. This contributes to emotional steadiness without conscious effort. You do not feel this reset happening. There is no sensation attached to balanced enzyme activity or synchronized hormone release. But the absence of internal turbulence becomes noticeable. Less heaviness, less fluctuation, less strain. By the fifth night, healing is no longer confined to one system. It is systemic. Your body is coordinating itself as an integrated whole. And that coordination depends on one thing you are already doing: resting, quietly, consistently, without interference. The sixth night brings healing to a place that often resists direct attention: emotion. Not emotion as feeling, but emotion as biology. Stress, fear, grief, and tension all leave physiological traces. They alter neural circuits, hormone release, and immune signaling. By the sixth night, your body is finally prepared to process these traces without reactivating them. During healthy sleep, especially REM-rich cycles that become more stable after several nights of rest, the brain revisits emotional experiences in a softened form. The amygdala, which detects threat, remains relatively quiet. Meanwhile, The hippocampus and prefrontal cortex coordinate memory and context. This allows emotional content to be reviewed without triggering a stress response. Neuroscience research shows that during REM sleep, noradrenaline levels in the brain drop significantly. This creates a unique neurochemical environment where emotional memories can be processed without fear. By the sixth night, REM cycles tend to lengthen and stabilize, making this processing more effective. What this means is simple but profound. Your brain can look at stress without reliving it. It can reorganize emotional memory, reducing intensity while preserving meaning. This is not forgetting. It is integration. Emotional experiences are stored with less charge, less urgency. At the same time, connections between the prefrontal cortex and limbic regions strengthen subtly. This improves emotional regulation during waking hours. You may not notice a specific change, but reactions become slightly less automatic. Pauses lengthen, responses soften. Hormonal signals support this process. Cortisol remains low through the night, while oxytocin and serotonin pathways receive indirect support through parasympathetic dominance. This biochemical environment favors trust, safety, and emotional openness without conscious effort. The body reflects this emotional softening physically. Muscle tone continues to decrease. Breathing becomes slower and deeper. Heart rate variability improves, signaling resilience within the autonomic nervous system. These changes send feedback to the brain that reinforces emotional calm. Even long-held stress patterns begin to loosen. Chronic tension stored in posture, jaw muscles, or breathing patterns gradually releases. This is not catharsis. It is quiet unwinding. By the sixth night, healing reaches a depth that words rarely touch. Your body is no longer preparing for threat. It is rewriting its expectation of safety. Emotional repair does not announce itself. It simply leaves you less burdened. And as this night unfolds, your body continues doing what it does best when given time. Processing, integrating, letting go. The seventh night is not louder than the others. It does not feel special in a dramatic way. Yet biologically, it carries a quiet significance. This is the night when the body begins to integrate the work of the previous days and establish a new internal baseline. Healing at this point is no longer a series of isolated processes. It becomes a coordinated state. Across 7 nights of consistent rest, your circadian system has received a clear message. Light and darkness are predictable again. Hormone release follows a smoother rhythm. Core body temperature drops reliably at night and rises gently toward morning. These patterns matter because nearly every cell in your body contains its own molecular clock. By the 7th night, many of these cellular clocks are once again synchronized. This synchronization improves efficiency everywhere. Organs no longer compete for energy at the wrong time. Repair processes occur when they are most effective. Metabolic reactions follow an orderly sequence rather than overlapping chaotically. The body conserves resources simply by doing things in the right order. The nervous system reflects this integration clearly. Heart rate variability, a marker of autonomic balance, improves with sustained sleep. This indicates that the body can shift smoothly between activation and rest. You are no longer stuck in one mode. This flexibility is one of the clearest physiological markers of resilience. In the brain, neural networks that regulate attention, emotion, and bodily awareness become quieter and more efficient. Background noise decreases. The brain uses less energy to maintain equilibrium. This does not make thoughts disappear. It makes them less demanding. Cognitive effort decreases even when the mind is active. Immune balance also reflects this new baseline. Inflammatory markers remain lower at rest. Immune cells respond with precision rather than urgency. Tissue maintenance continues without excessive signaling. This reduces long-term wear on organs and blood vessels. Musculoskeletal systems settle into this integrated state as well. Postural muscles maintain alignment with less effort. Fascia remains more hydrated. Joints move with less resistance. These changes do not announce themselves with sensation. They appear as absence of stiffness, absence of background discomfort. Perhaps the most important change on the seventh night is psychological, though it is rooted in biology. Your body begins to expect rest. Sleep no longer feels like a fragile state that might be interrupted. It becomes familiar, predictable, safe. That expectation alone reduces nighttime vigilance and supports deeper sleep in the future. Healing at this stage is not something you feel happening. It is something you stop noticing because strain is no longer dominant. The body has not become perfect. It has become coordinated. The seventh night teaches your biology a simple lesson. Restoration is allowed to continue. And once the body learns that lesson, it does not easily forget it. After the seventh night, something important shifts in how healing works. It no longer depends on novelty or effort. It depends on continuity. The processes that were carefully reactivated over the past week now run quietly in the background, without requiring conscious participation. The nervous system continues to refine its balance. Parasympathetic tone remains stronger at rest, while sympathetic activation becomes more selective. This reduces unnecessary stress responses during the day. Over time, this lowers baseline cortisol levels and reduces cumulative physiological wear. The brain continues its nightly maintenance cycles. Glymphatic clearance remains active. Synaptic connections adjust gently, preserving flexibility while maintaining stability. Learning becomes easier, not because the brain works harder, but because it works more efficiently. Metabolism remains aligned with circadian timing. Glucose regulation stays steadier. Appetite signaling becomes clearer. Energy availability improves without stimulation. These effects accumulate slowly, reinforcing internal stability. Immune function continues its quiet vigilance. Repair replaces reaction. Memory replaces constant defense. This does not eliminate illness, but it improves recovery and reduces unnecessary inflammatory burden. Emotionally, the brain continues to process experience without urgency. Stress no longer embeds itself as deeply. Emotional responses remain available, but less overwhelming. This is not numbness. It is proportionality. The body, at this point, does not need instruction. It needs consistency. Sleep becomes the environment where maintenance naturally occurs. You are no longer starting healing. You are sustaining it. And this is the quiet promise of the 7-night process. Not transformation through effort, but restoration through allowance. You do not need to chase healing. Your body already knows the path. All it asks is what you are already giving it now. Stillness, time, and permission to rest. By the 9th chapter of this journey, the most meaningful changes are no longer dramatic or directional. they are relational. Your nervous system has changed how it relates to the world. For many people, life trains the nervous system to expect interruption, demand, and urgency. Even rest becomes something to monitor. But after repeated nights of safety and stillness, the nervous system begins to revise its expectations. At the center of this shift is the autonomic nervous system, the network that balances activation and rest. Earlier in the week, sympathetic activity dominated, preparing the body for action, even when none was needed. By now, parasympathetic influence has strengthened enough to remain present even outside of sleep. This is not weakness, it is flexibility. The ability to activate when needed and release when not. Physiologically, this is reflected in smoother heart rhythms, more adaptable breathing patterns, and improved communication between the brainstem and higher brain regions. The vagus nerve, a major pathway of parasympathetic signaling, becomes more responsive. This enhances digestion, emotional regulation, and immune coordination. The body begins to recover, not only at night, but in the spaces between tasks during the day. Neural circuits that once associated stillness with vulnerability now associate it with safety. This is learned biology. Each night of uninterrupted rest strengthens inhibitory pathways in the brain that dampen unnecessary alarm signals. The amygdala reduces its baseline reactivity. The prefrontal cortex no longer needs to exert as much control to manage stress responses. You may notice this as a subtle change in how you respond to small disruptions. Sounds feel less intrusive. Thoughts pass without pulling you into them. Pauses feel natural rather than uncomfortable. These experiences are not psychological tricks. They are the result of altered neural thresholds for threat detection. Sleep itself continues to deepen. Transitions between sleep stages become smoother, with fewer micro-awakenings. This allows longer periods of slow wave and REM sleep, supporting continued repair. Importantly, the nervous system begins to trust that rest will continue. It no longer needs to check repeatedly for danger. At the cellular level, neurons benefit from this reduced vigilance. Lower background firing rates decrease metabolic strain. Mitochondrial efficiency improves. Energy is conserved. This supports long-term neural health and resilience. Perhaps the most profound aspect of this stage is that the nervous system no longer requires constant reassurance. Earlier nights depended on deliberate slowing and intentional permission. Now, rest happens with less guidance. The body recognizes the pattern and follows it. This is what trust looks like in biology. Not belief, but predictability. When safety repeats often enough, the nervous system adapts its default settings. And once those settings shift, healing becomes less fragile. By this point, you are no longer teaching your body how to rest. You are allowing it to remember something it once knew very well. By the 10th chapter, the most important work is happening precisely because you are no longer paying attention to it. Healing does not accelerate under observation. It stabilizes under consistency. And now, the systems inside you are operating with less oversight from conscious awareness. The brain has reduced its need to monitor internal states. Interoceptive signals, messages from organs, muscles, and tissues, are quieter. This does not mean they are absent. It means they no longer signal distress. The brain receives confirmation that internal conditions are stable. and it responds by allocating attention elsewhere or allowing it to dissolve. This reduced monitoring frees cognitive resources. Even during sleep, fewer cortical areas remain semi-active. This supports deeper rest and more efficient repair. The mind no longer needs to hover at the edge of awareness, ready to intervene. In the endocrine system, feedback loops become more refined. Hormones rise and fall with less overshoot. This reduces strain on receptors and improves signaling clarity. Systems that once compensated for irregular sleep now operate closer to their intended design. The immune system benefits from this reduced oversight as well. When the brain is not signaling stress, immune activity remains appropriately scaled. Repair processes continue without triggering inflammation. Surveillance becomes selective rather than constant. The musculoskeletal system follows suit. Without continuous low-level neural activation, muscles remain relaxed longer. Postural patterns adjust naturally. The body holds itself with less effort. This conserves energy and reduces cumulative strain. What is remarkable is how little effort this requires. You are not directing these changes. You are not optimizing them. You are simply not interfering. Healing thrives in environments where it is not rushed or evaluated. This stage often feels unremarkable, and that is a sign of success. The body has moved beyond recovery mode and into maintenance mode. It is no longer catching up. It is simply functioning. Sleep continues to serve as the anchor for this state. Each night reinforces the pattern. Each morning reflects it subtly. Not as transformation, but as ease. By the 10th chapter, the body is no longer asking for permission to heal. It assumes it, and that assumption changes everything. By the 11th chapter, healing has shifted into a rhythm that depends less on intention and more on time itself. Time, when paired with consistent rest, becomes one of the most powerful biological tools your body has. Cells are not designed to repair instantly. They are designed to repair gradually, accurately, and repeatedly. And now, night after night, that design is finally being honored. During this stage, cellular maintenance processes operate with fewer interruptions. Inside nearly every cell, systems responsible for protein folding and repair become more efficient during deep sleep. Misfolded proteins, which accumulate under stress and metabolic strain, are identified and either corrected or broken down. This reduces cellular clutter and improves functional efficiency. It is slow work, but it is precise. Autophagy, the process by which cells recycle damaged components, continues at a steady pace. While autophagy occurs at low levels throughout the day, it becomes more coordinated during periods of prolonged rest. On nights like these, cells are not responding to emergency signals. They are performing routine maintenance. This supports long-term cellular health rather than short-term recovery. Mitochondria benefit significantly from this environment. Reduced oxidative stress during sleep allows these energy-producing structures to repair their membranes and optimize their function. Over time, this improves energy efficiency and reduces the production of damaging byproducts. You may not feel an immediate surge of energy, but cellular fatigue gradually diminishes. DNA repair mechanisms also remain active. Every day introduces small genetic stresses from metabolism, environmental exposure, and normal cellular activity. During sleep, enzymes responsible for repairing DNA strands work more effectively. This is not dramatic regeneration, It is preservation, the kind that supports longevity and resilience quietly. The nervous system continues to facilitate this work by maintaining low background activity. Neural signaling remains calm. This reduces unnecessary metabolic demand and allows more energy to be directed towards cellular upkeep. The brain is no longer competing with the body for resources. Cooperation replaces competition. Blood flow during this stage supports delivery and removal rather than stimulation. Oxygen and nutrients reach tissues efficiently. Waste products are transported away without urgency. This smooth exchange supports stable internal conditions. You may notice that time feels different now. Nights pass without interruption. Mornings arrive without resistance. This subjective experience reflects objective change. When the body is no longer strained, perception softens. Healing at this stage is not something you can observe directly. It is something that accumulates. Small improvements layered night after night. Cells becoming more orderly, systems becoming more reliable. Time becomes an ally because the body is no longer fighting it. And as this night continues, your body keeps doing what it does best when allowed enough space, maintaining itself, quietly, faithfully, without asking for attention. By the 12th chapter, one of the most important changes is not what the body is doing, but what it has stopped doing. It has stopped compensating. For long periods of stress or poor sleep, the body adapts by overworking certain systems to maintain function. Hormones spike, muscles brace. The nervous system stays alert. These compensations keep you moving, but they carry a cost. Now, that cost begins to fade. The endocrine system no longer needs to exaggerate signals. Hormone release becomes proportional rather than reactive. Cortisol rises when appropriate and falls when no longer needed. Adrenal output stabilizes. This reduces strain on tissues that respond to these hormones, including blood vessels, immune cells, and the brain. The cardiovascular system reflects this balance. Heart rate remains adaptable rather than rigid. Blood pressure regulation improves as vascular tone adjusts naturally. Blood vessels no longer need to remain constricted in anticipation of stress. This reduces mechanical wear and supports long-term circulation health. Respiration follows a similar pattern. Breathing becomes deeper and slower at rest, without conscious control. Carbon dioxide tolerance improves, allowing oxygen delivery to become more efficient. This subtle shift supports cellular metabolism and reduces the sensation of air hunger often associated with anxiety. Musculoskeletal compensation also decreases. Muscles that once held tension to protect joints or posture begin to relax fully. This allows opposing muscle groups to coordinate more evenly. Movement becomes smoother because it requires less correction. The brain benefits greatly from the end of compensation. Neural networks that once worked around fatigue or stress begin to operate directly again. This reduces cognitive effort. Attention feels less fragmented. Emotional responses require less regulation. Importantly, this does not create a feeling of perfection. It creates a feeling of adequacy. Systems function within their intended range. The body no longer needs to push beyond itself to keep going. Sleep remains central to this recalibration. Each night reinforces the message that compensation is no longer necessary. The body does not need to prepare for constant disruption. It can trust the rhythm. This stage often passes unnoticed, and that is its strength. The body is no longer recovering from imbalance. It is settling into balance. As this night unfolds, you are not becoming something new. You are returning to something familiar, a state where effort is used only when needed, where rest restores rather than merely pauses, where healing continues simply because nothing is in its way. By the 13th chapter, healing reaches a system that works without rest and rarely asks for attention. The cardiovascular system. Your heart has been beating steadily through every night of this journey. But now it begins to benefit more deeply from the calm you have allowed, not by beating faster or stronger, but by working more efficiently with less strain. During consistent restorative sleep, the heart experiences longer periods of parasympathetic dominance. This means that signals telling the heart to slow down and soften its rhythm become more influential. Heart rate variability improves, reflecting a healthy balance between activation and rest. This flexibility is one of the strongest predictors of cardiovascular resilience. Blood pressure follows a natural nightly pattern called nocturnal dipping, where pressure decreases during sleep. Over many nights, this gentle dip reduces stress on blood vessel walls. Endothelial cells, which line the inside of blood vessels, respond to this calmer environment by improving their function. They release substances that support elasticity and reduce unnecessary constriction. Circulation itself becomes more efficient. Blood moves smoothly, delivering oxygen and nutrients without turbulence. This supports tissues throughout the body, including those that receive less circulation during waking hours. Capillaries open more fully. Exchange improves quietly. Inflammatory signaling related to cardiovascular stress also decreases. Sleep reduces markers associated with vascular inflammation, lowering long-term risk without producing sensation. This is preventive healing, the kind that does not announce itself but changes outcomes over time. Your heart, importantly, does not need motivation to heal. It needs rhythm. Regular nights of rest provide that rhythm. Each cycle of slowing and speeding teaches the heart that it does not need to remain vigilant. It can respond when required and relax when not. You may notice this as a sense of steadiness, not excitement, not stimulation, just reliability. The heart does its work without demanding awareness. That is its healthiest state. By this stage, the cardiovascular system is no longer compensating for stress. It is supporting life with less effort, and that quiet efficiency frees energy for everything else. As the night continues, your heart keeps beating in this calmer pattern, steady, adaptable, unhurried, and in that rhythm, healing continues without interruption. The 14th chapter brings healing to a conversation that shapes mood, immunity, and energy. The dialogue between the gut and the brain. This communication, often called the gut-brain axis, relies heavily on the nervous system, hormones, and immune signaling, and it responds powerfully to sustained rest. During periods of stress, gut signaling becomes distorted. Motility changes, sensitivity increases, microbial balance shifts. These changes send distress signals to the brain, reinforcing anxiety and fatigue. But with consistent sleep, this loop begins to soften. By this stage, parasympathetic activity supports digestive function more reliably. The vagus nerve, which connects the gut and brain directly, transmits signals of safety rather than urgency. This allows digestive rhythms to normalize. Peristalsis becomes coordinated. Secretions follow predictable patterns. The gut lining also benefits. Cells in the intestinal epithelium regenerate rapidly during sleep. Over multiple nights, barrier integrity improves, reducing the passage of inflammatory signals into the bloodstream. This quiet repair supports immune balance and reduces background stress signaling to the brain. Microbial populations respond indirectly to this calmer environment. While sleep does not change microbiota overnight, improved circadian alignment and reduced stress hormones create conditions that support diversity and stability over time. This benefits digestion and immune modulation. The brain receives these calmer signals and responds accordingly. Emotional centers reduce vigilance. Appetite regulation becomes clearer. Cravings soften as internal signals regain accuracy. This is not willpower. It is communication restored. Importantly, this conversation quiets rather than intensifies. The brain does not need to manage digestion actively. The gut does not need to signal distress constantly. Cooperation replaces correction. You may experience this as ease, less tension in the abdomen, more comfort after eating, fewer sudden shifts in mood tied to physical sensation. These changes are subtle but meaningful. By the 14th chapter, healing has become relational. Systems are not working in isolation. They are listening to one another again. And the listening depends on one thing you are already providing: time, stillness, and a body allowed to rest. By the 15th chapter, the most meaningful change is not what happens during sleep, but how sleep itself is structured. Sleep is not a single state. It is an architecture. Layers of stages that cycle through the night in a precise biological order. When stress disrupts this structure, healing becomes fragmented. Now, that architecture is quietly restoring itself. Sleep cycles lengthen and stabilize. Transitions between light sleep, deep slow-wave sleep, and REM sleep become smoother. The brain no longer jolts itself awake to check for danger. Micro-arousals decrease. This allows deeper stages to unfold fully, especially slow-wave sleep, which is essential for physical repair and immune coordination. During slow-wave sleep, neuronal firing becomes highly synchronized. Large populations of neurons alternate between activity and silence in slow, rolling waves. This pattern reduces energy consumption while supporting cellular maintenance. Growth hormone release peaks during these stages, reinforcing tissue repair across the body. REM sleep also benefits from this stability. REM cycles lengthen toward morning, supporting emotional integration, creativity, and neural flexibility. Dreams may become more vivid or more coherent, though they may also fade from memory. Both outcomes are normal. What matters is that the brain is processing experience without strain. The thalamus continues to dampen sensory input, protecting sleep depth. External sounds are filtered rather than reacted to. This sensory gating is a sign that the brain trusts the environment enough to remain offline. As sleep depth returns, the body's internal clocks become more precise. Temperature regulation improves. Hormonal pulses align more closely with circadian timing. These rhythms reinforce one another, creating a self-sustaining loop of restorative sleep. You may notice that falling asleep requires less effort. The threshold between wakefulness and sleep softens. The body recognizes familiar signals: darkness, stillness, reduced stimulation, and responds automatically. This is learned physiology. Deep sleep is not something you can force. It emerges when conditions are right. By the 15th chapter, those conditions are increasingly present. Sleep no longer feels shallow or fragile. It has weight, depth, continuity. Healing depends on this depth, not because it is dramatic, but because it is reliable. When sleep architecture is intact, repair does not need to compete with vigilance. It proceeds uninterrupted. As this night unfolds, layers of sleep stack gently upon one another. Each layer supports the next. And within this structure, your body continues its work quietly, efficiently, without interruption. By the 16th chapter, healing begins to influence something that reaches beyond the night, the body's expectation of the future. Stress teaches the body to anticipate threat. Rest teaches it to anticipate continuity. This shift does not happen through thought. It happens through repetition. The nervous system, having experienced multiple nights of uninterrupted repair, adjusts its predictive models. It no longer expects sudden demands during rest. This reduces anticipatory tension, even during waking hours. Muscles remain softer. Breathing remains steadier. The body prepares for tomorrow without bracing against it. Cortical networks involved in forecasting and planning reduce their background activity. The brain does not need to simulate future problems constantly. This frees mental space and reduces fatigue. Planning becomes intentional rather than compulsive. Hormonal systems reflect this trust. Morning cortisol rises more gradually, preparing the body for wakefulness without shock. Energy mobilization feels smoother. The transition from sleep to wakefulness becomes less abrupt, reducing strain on cardiovascular and metabolic systems. Emotionally, this shift appears as quiet confidence, not optimism, but steadiness. The body no longer signals urgency before anything has happened. Emotional responses align more closely with actual events rather than anticipated ones. Immune signaling also benefits. Reduced anticipatory stress lowers inflammatory background noise. The immune system remains responsive without being hyperreactive. This supports long-term resilience. Sleep itself becomes more forward-looking. The brain organizes memory and learning, not just to resolve the past, but to prepare gently for what comes next. Neuroplasticity remains high without instability. Perhaps the most important aspect of this stage is that healing is no longer limited to recovery from strain. It becomes preparation for life. The body does not merely repair damage. It maintains readiness without tension. You may notice this as ease upon waking, a sense that tomorrow is manageable, that the body is not already behind. This is trust expressed biologically, a system that expects continuity rather than disruption. And once that expectation forms, healing becomes self-reinforcing. As the 16th chapter unfolds, your body rests, not because it must recover, but because it knows rest will return again. And that knowledge shapes everything that follows. By the 17th chapter, healing reaches a domain that often feels personal and immediate: how the body experiences sensation, pain, discomfort, and bodily awareness are not fixed signals. They are interpretations shaped by nerves, the brain, and the context in which signals are received. With sustained rest, those interpretations begin to soften. During prolonged stress or poor sleep, sensory thresholds often lower. nerves become more reactive. Signals that would normally remain quiet rise into awareness. This is not damage. It is amplification. By this stage of healing, that amplification begins to dial back. Neuroscience shows that sleep supports recalibration in the sensory cortex and spinal pathways. Inhibitory circuits strengthen, allowing the nervous system to filter input more effectively. By the 17th night, these filters operate with greater consistency. Sensation becomes clearer but less overwhelming. Pain processing centers in the brain also change their activity patterns. Regions such as the anterior cingulate cortex and insula, which integrate physical sensation with emotional meaning, reduce their baseline activation during restful sleep. This weakens the coupling between sensation and distress. Signals are still transmitted, but they carry less urgency. At the peripheral level, nerves benefit from reduced inflammation and improved blood flow. This supports myelin maintenance and nerve conduction stability. Tingling, tightness, or diffuse discomfort may fade gradually as signaling normalizes. These changes are slow, but they accumulate. Muscles continue to play a role in sensory experience. Reduced background tension decreases mechanical input from muscles and joints. The brain receives fewer distress signals simply because there is less to report. This quieting further reinforces neural calm. Importantly, perception adjusts alongside sensation. The brain learns that not every signal requires attention. Interoception, the sense of the internal body, becomes quieter and more neutral. This reduces the tendency to scan the body for problems, allowing awareness to soften. You may notice that discomfort no longer pulls focus as strongly. Sensations come and go without commentary. This is not suppression. It is regulation restored. Sleep remains the environment where this repatterning is reinforced. Each night of stable rest strengthens inhibitory control and sensory discrimination. The nervous system learns that it can allow sensation without escalating it. By the 17th chapter, healing has changed not just tissues and systems, but experience itself. The body feels different, not because it is numb, but because it is no longer amplifying what does not require attention. And in this quieter relationship with sensation, rest deepens further, supporting everything that follows. By the 18th chapter, many people expect to feel energized in a way that resembles excitement or drive. But biological healing delivers energy differently. It returns energy as stability, as reliability, as the absence of exhaustion rather than the presence of stimulation. Energy, in physiological terms, is not about pushing. It is about efficiency. When systems no longer waste resources compensating for imbalance, more energy remains available. By this stage, that conservation becomes noticeable. Mitochondrial function continues to improve under sustained low-stress conditions. Cells generate ATP more efficiently with fewer byproducts. This reduces oxidative strain and supports consistent energy availability throughout the day. Peaks and crashes soften. Hormonal rhythms reinforce this stability. Cortisol and adrenaline respond appropriately to demands without overshooting. Thyroid signaling remains steady, supporting metabolic balance without urgency. Energy becomes predictable rather than volatile. The nervous system also contributes. Reduced background activation means less energy is spent maintaining vigilance. The brain uses fewer resources to manage stress signals. This frees capacity for focus, creativity, and presence without effort. Muscles reflect this change as well. When tone is balanced rather than braced, movement requires less energy. Posture maintains itself with minimal correction. This reduces fatigue during everyday activities. Sleep quality continues to anchor this state. Deep and REM sleep remain intact, supporting nightly restoration. Waking no longer feels like recovery from depletion. It feels like continuation from rest. Importantly, this kind of energy does not demand expression. It does not push you to act. It supports you when you choose to act. This distinction matters because stimulation often leads back to imbalance, while stability sustains healing. Emotionally, this energy appears as calm motivation. Tasks feel manageable. Decisions feel less draining. The body no longer signals exhaustion before effort begins. This stage often surprises people because it feels ordinary, and that is its strength. The body is not trying to impress you. It is trying to function well. By the 18th chapter, healing has reclaimed energy from waste and returned it to use, not as excitement, not as urgency, but as quiet capacity. As this night continues, your body rests not to charge itself, but to remain steady. And in that steadiness, life becomes easier to meet, one moment at a time. By the 19th chapter, healing reaches something subtle and rarely discussed in scientific terms, yet deeply grounded in physiology: the way the body stores patterns of identity. Not identity as belief or story, but identity as posture, tone, reaction, and expectation. These patterns are biological habits, shaped by repetition, stress, and adaptation. And with sustained rest, they begin to reorganize quietly. The nervous system does not only regulate organs and muscles, it also encodes patterns of response that determine how you meet the world. Over time, repeated stress teaches the body who it needs to be to survive. Muscles brace, breathing shortens, attention narrows. These patterns become automatic, stored below conscious awareness. They are efficient, but costly. By this stage of healing, the body has experienced enough safety to begin loosening those automatic roles. This happens through changes in baseline neural firing patterns. Networks associated with threat, monitoring, and self-protection reduce their background activity. In parallel, networks associated with sensory integration and self-awareness become calmer and more coherent. Posture often reflects this shift first. The body no longer holds itself as if expecting interruption. The chest softens. The neck aligns more naturally. The spine supports rather than guards. These changes are not cosmetic. They alter proprioceptive feedback, signals sent from muscles and joints to the brain. When those signals change, the brain updates its model of who you are in the world. Breathing patterns also reorganize. Instead of shallow, upper chest breathing, driven by vigilance, the diaphragm becomes more involved. This sends powerful signals through the vagus nerve that reinforce parasympathetic tone. Calm becomes embodied rather than imposed. Even facial muscles participate. Reduced tension around the eyes, jaw, and brow changes sensory input to the brain. This influences emotional tone and social perception. The body begins to express neutrality instead of defense. Importantly, this reorganization is not a loss. It is a release of effort. The body stops performing a version of itself that required constant energy. it does not become passive. It becomes available. Memory systems in the brain support this shift. As emotional memories are reprocessed during sleep without stress hormones, their influence on present behavior weakens. The past no longer shapes posture and reaction as strongly. The body responds to now, not then. This stage often feels like simplicity. Fewer internal instructions, less self-management. The body does not need to be told how to exist. It simply does. Healing here is not about becoming someone new. It is about shedding layers of adaptation that are no longer required. The body remembers how to occupy space without justification. As this night unfolds, you may feel less defined by effort, less shaped by tension, more neutral, more present. And in that neutrality, the body continues its quiet work, maintaining, adjusting, and allowing identity to soften into something that requires less energy to hold. By the 20th chapter, the most significant change is not within any single system. It is in how healing itself is experienced, or rather, how it is no longer experienced. Healing has moved from foreground to background. It no longer demands attention, it simply continues. Earlier in the process, healing required space, silence, protection from interruption. Now, it persists, even as life resumes its ordinary texture. This is the hallmark of integration. Systems are no longer fragile. They are resilient. Physiologically, this means that repair and maintenance processes operate alongside daily activity. The nervous system returns to baseline more quickly after stimulation. Muscles release tension without instruction. Inflammatory signals rise when appropriate and resolve without lingering. The brain reflects this integration clearly. Networks associated with self-monitoring and evaluation reduce their dominance. Awareness becomes broader and less effortful. Thoughts arise and pass without requiring management. The mind no longer needs to check constantly whether the body is okay. Sleep continues to anchor this state, but it is no longer the only place where healing occurs. Micro-restoration happens throughout the day. Brief pauses, slower breaths, moments of stillness all reinforce parasympathetic activity. The body recognizes rest in many forms. Hormonal systems adapt accordingly. Stress responses become shorter and more proportional. Recovery begins sooner after challenge. This reduces cumulative load and supports long-term health without requiring avoidance of stress altogether. Emotionally, this stage feels quieter, not flat, but spacious. Reactions do not stack upon one another. Experiences resolve instead of accumulating. This reduces emotional fatigue and preserves energy for engagement rather than recovery. The immune system continues its work without signaling distress. Surveillance remains active, but calm. Repair continues without inflammation. This is sustainable defense, the kind that supports longevity rather than urgency. Perhaps the most important shift is psychological, though it is rooted in biology. You no longer need to think about healing. The body has reclaimed that responsibility. Attention is free to move outward or inward without concern. This is not the end of healing. It is the point where healing stops being a project. It becomes a condition. As this night continues, your body rests not because it needs to fix something, but because rest is now part of how it lives. And in that background of quiet maintenance, life continues, supported, steady, and no longer asking for repair to be watched. By the 21st chapter, healing expresses itself through timing. Not speed, not intensity, but predictability. The body begins to trust its own rhythms again, and that trust reshapes how every system coordinates with the next. When stress dominated, timing became fragmented. Signals overlapped. Systems rushed or lagged. Now, biological events happen when they are meant to happen. Circadian regulation continues to refine itself. The suprachiasmatic nucleus in the brain, your central timekeeper, synchronizes more precisely with light, darkness, and temperature. This alignment influences nearly every organ. Hormones are released in appropriate sequence. Digestive activity follows clearer patterns. Cellular repair aligns with rest instead of competing with wakefulness. Temperature regulation reflects this timing clearly. Core body temperature drops more reliably at night, signaling sleep depth to the brain. Toward morning, it rises gently, preparing the body to wake without shock. This smooth transition reduces cardiovascular strain and improves metabolic efficiency. The nervous system mirrors this predictability. Transitions between activity and rest become cleaner. When you engage, you engage. When you pause, you pause. There is less overlap, less internal conflict. This clarity conserves energy and reduces fatigue. Sleep cycles themselves become more consistent. The body enters deep sleep earlier in the night and REM sleep later, following its natural architecture. This sequence matters. It allows physical repair to occur before emotional and cognitive integration. When timing is restored, nothing competes for priority. The endocrine system benefits from this order. Growth hormone, melatonin, cortisol, and insulin follow smoother curves. Receptors respond with greater sensitivity because signals are no longer exaggerated. This reduces hormonal noise and supports long-term balance. Digestive timing also improves. Appetite cues align more closely with energy needs. The gut anticipates rest and activity accurately, improving comfort and nutrient absorption. This reduces unnecessary signaling between the gut and brain, further calming the nervous system. Perhaps the most subtle effect of restored timing is psychological. The body stops anticipating disruption. It no longer prepares for interruption before it occurs. This reduces baseline tension and frees attention. You may notice that moments unfold without urgency, that there is time inside experience again. Predictability is not boredom, it is safety. The body thrives when it knows what comes next. Healing deepens when systems can rely on one another's schedules. By the 21st chapter, rest is no longer fragile. It arrives on time. It leaves on time. And everything in between happens quietly, without instruction. As this night continues, your body follows its own clock. Each system moves when it should. And in that gentle predictability, healing remains steady, unforced, and quietly complete. By the 22nd chapter, healing reaches a final layer of effort that often goes unnoticed: the effort of holding everything together. Many bodies learn to maintain stability through tension, vigilance, and constant adjustment. That effort feels responsible, even necessary, but it is costly. Now that cost begins to fade. The nervous system no longer feels compelled to manage every signal. Sensory input is filtered without strain. Emotional signals are acknowledged without escalation. Muscles respond when needed and release when not. This reduction in management effort conserves enormous energy. Neural networks associated with executive control, those that oversee planning, correction, and inhibition reduce their background activity. The brain trusts that systems will self-regulate. This trust is learned through repetition, not logic. Night after night, the body has proven that it can maintain balance without oversight. Muscle tone reflects this release. Instead of holding joints stable through constant contraction, muscles rely more on structural alignment and elastic support. This reduces fatigue and strain. Movement becomes lighter because it is not over-controlled. Breathing continues to deepen naturally. Pauses between breaths lengthen slightly. This signals safety through the vagus nerve and reinforces parasympathetic dominance. Calm becomes the default rather than a state to be achieved. Emotionally, this release appears as relief without cause. The body no longer signals that something must be managed. Feelings arise and resolve without stacking. There is space between experiences. That space is rest. The immune system benefits as well. Without chronic stress signaling, immune responses remain proportional. Surveillance continues, but urgency fades. Repair replaces defense as the primary mode. Sleep itself becomes effortless. The body no longer checks whether it is allowed to sleep. It simply does. This reduces microarousals and supports deeper cycles. What is remarkable is that nothing new is added at this stage. Healing completes itself by subtraction. Effort falls away. Management dissolves. The body stops trying so hard to be okay. By the 22nd chapter, healing feels like ease, not happiness, not excitement. Ease. The quiet sense that nothing needs to be fixed right now. As this night unfolds, your body rests without instruction. Systems coordinate without supervision. And in that absence of effort, healing continues, stable, sufficient, and no longer asking to be held together. By the 23rd chapter, the nervous system reaches a rare and valuable state, stillness without collapse. This is not shutdown. It is not disengagement. It is the capacity to be calm while remaining capable. Biology does not aim for numbness. It aims for adaptability. And now, that adaptability is returning. Earlier in the process, calm required protection. Silence had to be maintained. Interruptions could pull the body back into vigilance. But after sustained nights of restoration, the nervous system no longer equates stillness with danger. It understands that quiet does not mean vulnerability. This understanding is encoded physiologically, not conceptually. At the level of the brainstem, autonomic regulation becomes more efficient. Signals governing heart rate, breathing, and digestion stabilize. The system no longer oscillates rapidly between activation and rest. Instead, it holds a centered tone that can shift smoothly when needed. This reduces wear on neural circuits and preserves responsiveness. In the cortex, attentional networks change their baseline behavior. Rather than scanning continuously for relevance, they remain open and receptive. This openness requires less energy than vigilance. It allows awareness to expand without tension. The mind can notice without gripping. Motor systems also reflect this state. Muscles remain ready without bracing. Reaction time improves, not because of alertness, but because unnecessary interference has been removed. Movements become cleaner. Responses become simpler. The body does not hesitate, nor does it rush. This balance has measurable physiological markers. Heart rate variability remains high even during quiet states, indicating resilience. Breathing patterns remain slow and adaptable. Blood pressure regulation responds fluidly to posture and movement. These signals reflect a system that is calm by default and responsive by choice. Emotionally, this state appears as confidence without assertion. The body does not need to prepare emotionally for what has not happened. Feelings arise in proportion to events rather than anticipation. This reduces emotional fatigue and preserves clarity. Sleep continues to reinforce this pattern. Each night strengthens inhibitory pathways that prevent unnecessary activation. The nervous system learns that it can rest deeply without losing capacity. That learning changes daytime function as well. Importantly, this stage does not remove stress from life. It changes how stress is met. The body can engage fully and then disengage completely. This cycle prevents accumulation. Effort resolves instead of lingering. By the 23rd chapter, healing has refined the nervous system's relationship with stillness. Calm is no longer fragile, it is functional. And that functionality allows life to unfold without constant preparation. As this night continues, your body rests with confidence, not because nothing might happen, but because it knows it can respond when something does. By the 24th chapter, healing reaches a decisive shift. The body is no longer recovering from strain, it is maintaining itself. Recovery implies catching up. Maintenance implies stability. And stability is the biological goal. During earlier stages, systems work to undo the effects of stress, fatigue, and imbalance. Now, those effects no longer dominate. The body's workload changes. Instead of repairing damage, it focuses on preserving order. This requires less energy and produces less signal. Cellular processes reflect this clearly. Protein turnover continues without urgency. Autophagy remains active but steady. DNA repair persists as routine upkeep rather than emergency response. Cells are no longer operating under pressure. They are maintaining integrity. The immune system settles into surveillance mode. Instead of responding to accumulated stress signals, it monitors quietly. Inflammatory markers remain low at rest. Repair pathways remain available but inactive until needed. This reduces long-term tissue strain and supports longevity. The endocrine system also reflects maintenance. Hormone release follows predictable curves without compensation. Receptors respond efficiently because signals are neither exaggerated nor suppressed. This balance supports energy, mood, and metabolic health without fluctuation. Musculoskeletal systems hold posture with minimal effort. Micro-adjustments occur without tension. Fascia remains hydrated. Joints move smoothly. The body supports itself without constant correction. The brain benefits profoundly from this shift. Neural networks operate with lower baseline activity. Energy is conserved. Attention becomes available rather than forced. Emotional regulation requires less effort because fewer disturbances arise. Sleep, at this stage, is not a recovery tool. It is a continuation of maintenance. Nights no longer need to make up for the day. They simply sustain the system. This reduces sleep pressure and improves consistency. Psychologically, this stage feels unremarkable. And that is the point. When the body is stable, it does not demand awareness. There is no signal announcing balance. There is only the absence of disruption. Healing has not ended. It has stabilized. The body has learned how to care for itself quietly, without instruction, without urgency. As this night unfolds, nothing needs to be fixed. Systems run smoothly. Effort remains available, but unused. And in this state of maintenance, healing continues, not as a process, but as a condition. By the 25th chapter, healing reaches the quality of space itself, not physical space, but mental space, the room between thoughts, sensations, and reactions. This space is not emptiness, it is capacity, and it grows when the brain no longer needs to fill every moment with monitoring or control. Neuroscience shows that when stress decreases and sleep remains consistent, activity in the brain's default mode network becomes less rigid. This network, responsible for self-referential thinking and mental narration, does not disappear. It loosens. Thoughts still arise, but they no longer stack tightly against one another. There is time between them. This widening of mental space is supported by reduced background activity in stress-related circuits. The amygdala remains quieter at rest. The prefrontal cortex no longer needs to exert constant effort to regulate emotion. As a result, mental effort decreases without reducing clarity. Awareness becomes lighter. Attention networks benefit from this change. Instead of being pulled automatically towards stimuli, attention becomes more flexible. It can rest without collapsing. It can focus without strain. This flexibility conserves energy and reduces cognitive fatigue. Sleep continues to reinforce this spaciousness. During deep and REM sleep, synaptic pruning refines neural connections, removing redundant signaling pathways. This does not erase memory. It improves efficiency. The brain carries less noise into waking consciousness. Physiologically, breathing supports this expansion. With slower, deeper breaths, carbon dioxide tolerance improves. This stabilizes blood pH and reduces chemoreceptor-driven anxiety. The brain receives fewer signals, suggesting urgency. Calm becomes easier to sustain. Emotionally, this space appears as neutrality, not indifference, but non-urgency. Feelings arise and pass without demanding action. The nervous system recognizes that not every internal signal requires response. Importantly, this silence is not forced. Forced silence increases tension. This silence emerges naturally when systems no longer compete for priority. The mind rests because nothing is pressing. You may notice that moments feel longer. That experience unfolds without rushing. This subjective slowing reflects objective change. When internal demand decreases, perception softens. Healing at this stage is not about improvement. It is about availability. Mental resources are no longer consumed by maintenance. They are free to be used or not used at all. As this night continues, thoughts drift without momentum. Awareness rests without instruction. And in that quiet mental space, the body and brain continue their steady work, unobserved and uninterrupted. By the 26th chapter, rest has moved from being an event to being a background condition. Activity still happens, engagement still occurs, but beneath it all, the body remains at ease. This is not passivity, it is grounding. Physiologically, this state is marked by sustained parasympathetic tone even during mild activity. Heart rate increases when needed and returns quickly to baseline. Breathing adapts smoothly to movement and settles easily afterward. The nervous system no longer overshoots. This ability to return quickly is crucial. Recovery is not measured by how little stress occurs, but by how efficiently the body resolves it. By this stage, resolution is fast and quiet. Stress does not accumulate. It completes itself. Muscle tone reflects this grounding clearly. Muscles engage for movement and release immediately afterward. There is no lingering contraction. This reduces metabolic demand and prevents fatigue from building across the day. Hormonal responses follow suit. Adrenaline and cortisol rise briefly and proportionally, then decline. There is no prolonged alert state. This protects tissues from wear and preserves immune balance. The brain benefits profoundly from this default rest state. Neural networks remain organized. Cognitive transitions between tasks, thoughts, and emotions become smoother. The brain does not need to reset forcefully. It is already close to baseline. Sleep quality continues to anchor this pattern, but rest now extends into waking life. Brief pauses, gentle breathing, and moments of stillness are enough to reinforce calm. The body recognizes these signals immediately. Emotionally, this stage appears as steadiness. Feelings arise without destabilizing the system. Engagement does not require bracing. Withdrawal does not require collapse. The body can move between states fluidly. This is resilience expressed biologically, not resistance to stress, but efficient recovery from it. Systems that recover quickly remain healthy longer. Importantly, this default rest does not reduce capacity. It increases it. Energy is conserved. Focus is available. Presence is natural. By the 26th chapter, healing has redefined effort. Effort becomes optional rather than compulsory. The body no longer needs to push itself back into balance. Balance is already there. As this night unfolds, your body rests beneath everything it does. Quiet, stable, ready. And in that readiness, without tension, healing continues. Effortless, continuous, and complete in its own time. By the 27th chapter, healing expresses itself through memory. Not memory of events, but memory of conditions. The body remembers what safety feels like. This memory is stored not in words, but in thresholds. How easily the heart slows, how readily the breath deepens, how quickly the mind releases its grip. When safety is repeated often enough, it becomes the default expectation. Nighttime vigilance, the quiet habit of checking the environment while asleep, continues to fade. In the past, small sounds or internal sensations may have triggered micro-awakenings. These were not conscious choices. They were protective reflexes. Now those reflexes no longer dominate. The brain has learned that the night is predictable. Physiologically, this learning is reflected in reduced activity of arousal centers in the brainstem during sleep. The locus coeruleus, a key source of noradrenaline, remains quieter through the night. This supports deeper, more continuous sleep cycles and reduces fragmentation. The body is no longer rehearsing wakefulness while resting. The thalamus strengthens its role as a sensory gatekeeper. External input is filtered with confidence. Sounds are registered without urgency. Internal sensations pass without triggering alertness. This allows the brain to remain offline long enough for uninterrupted repair. The autonomic nervous system reinforces this pattern. Parasympathetic tone remains stable throughout the night, and sympathetic spikes become rare. Heart rhythm stays smooth. Breathing remains slow and even. The body is not bracing against the dark. It is using it. This memory of safety extends into the day as well. Anticipatory tension decreases. The body does not carry the night's vigilance into waking life. Muscles do not pre-tighten. Attention does not narrow prematurely. The system trusts continuity. Sleep pressure also adjusts. Because sleep is no longer fragmented, the body requires less compensation. Nights feel complete. There is no sense of unfinished rest. This reduces the need for excessive sleep or stimulation during the day. Emotionally, this stage is marked by neutrality towards stillness. Silence no longer feels empty or threatening. It feels ordinary. The body does not rush to fill space with activity. It can remain quiet without discomfort. Importantly, this is not learned relaxation. It is learned safety. Relaxation can be forced. Safety cannot. Safety emerges only through repeated experience. And now that experience has accumulated. By the 27th chapter, the body has stopped asking whether rest will be interrupted. It assumes it will continue. That assumption frees enormous energy and attention. As this night continues, the body sleeps without rehearsal, without scanning, without preparation. And in that uninterrupted darkness, healing proceeds in full, unobserved, and unchallenged. By the 28th chapter, healing is no longer something that happens for a while and then ends. It has become a trait, a stable characteristic of how the body operates. This shift is subtle but profound. Phases require maintenance. Traits sustain themselves. At this stage, systems are no longer correcting imbalance. They are preventing it. This prevention is not active control. It is alignment. When systems are aligned, fewer errors occur. Less correction is required. The nervous system exemplifies this change. Baseline tone remains calm, yet responsive. Stress responses activate when appropriate and resolve quickly. There is no lingering activation. The system does not carry yesterday into today. Each day begins without physiological debt. The immune system mirrors this trait-like healing. Inflammatory signaling remains low at rest. Repair mechanisms remain available, but inactive until needed. Immune memory functions efficiently without constant stimulation. Defense is precise, not exaggerated. Metabolic systems also settle into trait stability. Glucose regulation remains steady. Appetite cues are clear. Energy availability is consistent. The body does not oscillate between depletion and compensation. It operates within range. Sleep itself reflects this trait. It no longer feels fragile or conditional. It arrives when conditions are present and deepens naturally. Disruptions, when they occur, resolve without unraveling the pattern. One night does not undo many. The brain benefits from this stability through reduced cognitive noise. Thought patterns become less repetitive. Attention moves more freely. Emotional regulation remains intact without effort. The mind is not managing the body. It is supported by it. Perhaps the most important aspect of this stage is durability. Healing persists through variability. Busy days do not erase calm nights. Stressful moments do not undo balance. The system bends without breaking. This does not mean the body is invulnerable. It means it is resilient. Resilience is not resistance to change. It is the ability to return to baseline after change. By the 28th chapter, baseline has shifted. You may notice that you no longer measure progress. Healing no longer feels like something to track. The body has taken over that responsibility. Awareness is free to move elsewhere. As this night unfolds, healing continues not because conditions are perfect, but because they are sufficient. The body no longer waits for permission to restore itself. Restoration is now part of how it exists. And in that quiet continuity, the work you began nights ago carries on. Steady, self-sustaining, and no longer bound to a beginning or an end. By the 29th chapter, Healing reveals itself most clearly after something interrupts it. A shorter night, a louder evening, a day that asks more than expected. What changes now is not the absence of disturbance, but the body's response to it. Recovery becomes effortless. Disturbance no longer leaves a long shadow. In earlier stages, even small disruptions could echo through the night. The nervous system reacted as if continuity were fragile. Now, continuity is assumed. When a disturbance occurs, autonomic responses rise briefly and then settle without persuasion. Heart rate returns to baseline. Breathing slows naturally. Muscle tone releases without instruction. This rapid resolution is the signature of a system that trusts itself. Physiologically, this reflects efficient feedback loops. Baroreceptors that regulate blood pressure respond quickly. Chemoreceptors that monitor oxygen and carbon dioxide recalibrate without triggering urgency. The hypothalamus integrates these signals smoothly, coordinating hormonal responses that are proportional rather than excessive. Stress hormones peak modestly and decline on schedule. Sleep architecture benefits from this resilience. If a cycle is interrupted, the brain does not attempt to compensate aggressively. It resumes its sequence calmly, allowing depth to return without force. Microarousals no longer cascade into prolonged wakefulness. The night remains coherent. At the cellular level, repair processes continue despite variability. Autophagy and protein maintenance adapt to timing changes without shutting down. Mitochondria adjust output to demand and then return to efficiency. Cells are no longer dependent on ideal conditions. They operate within a healthy range. Emotionally, this stage appears as forgiveness of imperfection. The body does not punish itself for disruption. Feelings related to disturbance pass without imprinting. This prevents emotional accumulation and supports steadiness across days. Cognitively, attention recovers quickly. Focus returns without fatigue. Mental clarity does not require recovery rituals. The brain no longer carries the residue of interruption forward. This ability to recover quickly reduces the cost of living. Life does not need to be optimized to protect healing. Healing adapts to life. That adaptability is what makes it durable. By the 29th chapter, the body has learned a crucial skill: how to complete a stress response. Activation begins, fulfills its purpose, and ends. Nothing lingers. Nothing needs to be managed. As this night continues, your body rests with confidence that tomorrow's variability will not undo tonight's calm. Recovery is no longer a project. It is a reflex. And in that reflex, healing persists, quietly, reliably, without asking for perfect conditions. By the 30th chapter, calm is no longer a state you enter. It is the language your body uses to communicate with itself. Signals are sent gently. Responses are measured. Systems coordinate without urgency. This does not make life slower. It makes it clearer. The nervous system now favors inhibitory signaling as its baseline. Excitation still occurs, but it is framed by restraint. This balance reduces noise and increases precision. The brain receives cleaner input and produces cleaner output. Thoughts are simpler. Actions are more direct. Physiologically, this calm language is evident in smooth transitions. Waking unfolds without shock. Activity ramps up without strain. Rest returns without collapse. Each shift is graded rather than abrupt. The body moves between states without friction. The cardiovascular system speaks this language through rhythm. Heart rate adapts to demand and recovers quickly. blood vessels adjust tone smoothly. Circulation supports tissues without turbulence. This reduces wear and preserves capacity. Breathing expresses calm through depth and timing. Inhalations arrive when needed. Exhalations complete fully. Pauses feel natural rather than forced. This breathing pattern sends continuous signals of safety through the vagus nerve, reinforcing systemic balance. The endocrine system communicates calmly as well. Hormones rise and fall with clarity. There is no shouting. Receptors remain sensitive because signals are not exaggerated. This preserves responsiveness and reduces fatigue. Sleep reflects this language most clearly. Entry into sleep is gentle. Depth arrives without struggle. Dreams process experience without intensity. Awakening leaves no residue. The night feels whole. Emotionally, calm communication reduces internal debate. Feelings arise and are understood without escalation. There is space to respond rather than react. This conserves energy and preserves presence. Importantly, calm as a language does not eliminate challenge. It changes how challenge is met. The body responds when needed and then returns to baseline. Effort completes itself. By the 30th chapter, healing has reshaped communication across the body. Signals are quieter, clearer, and more cooperative. The system does not demand attention to function well. As this night unfolds, your body speaks to itself in this calm language, coordinated, precise, and sufficient. Nothing is rushed, nothing is suppressed. And in that quiet conversation, healing continues as the natural expression of a body that knows how to listen to itself, respond appropriately, and rest when the response is complete. By the 31st chapter, healing touches a state that is often misunderstood. Quiet joy. Not excitement, not pleasure that spikes and fades, but a low, steady sense of okayness that the body can hold without effort. This state is not emotional fireworks. It is physiological contentment. When systems are balanced, the brain does not need to generate stimulation to feel alive. Dopaminergic signaling becomes more proportional, responding to meaning rather than novelty. Serotonin pathways stabilize mood without flattening it. Oxytocin signaling supports connection without urgency. These chemical conversations allow the body to register well-being without activation. Neuroscientifically, this state reflects reduced prediction error. The brain is no longer constantly correcting between expectation and reality. When outcomes match predictions more closely, stress circuitry quiets. This reduces the need for compensatory pleasure-seeking. Satisfaction becomes sustainable. The autonomic nervous system supports this by maintaining parasympathetic tone alongside engagement. Heart rhythm remains flexible. Breathing remains deep. The body can experience enjoyment without tipping into arousal. This is crucial because excessive arousal, even positive, can destabilize sleep and recovery. Muscles participate in this quiet joy through ease. Movement feels natural rather than driven. Posture supports presence without display. The body occupies space comfortably. This proprioceptive feedback tells the brain that nothing needs to be proven. Sleep reinforces this state by processing reward signals without overstimulation. During REM sleep, emotional memory is integrated gently. Positive experiences are retained without amplifying craving. This allows joy to be remembered without being chased. Cognitively, attention rests more often in the present moment. There is less pull toward anticipation or regret. This does not eliminate thought. It reduces rumination. The mind can enjoy simplicity without boredom. Importantly, quiet joy does not demand expression. It does not require sharing or confirmation. It is internal coherence. The body recognizes that conditions are sufficient. That recognition itself is rewarding. You may notice this as moments of ease that do not ask to be named. A sense that nothing is wrong, that you do not need to improve the moment. These experiences are subtle because they do not disrupt. They support. By the 31st chapter, healing has made room for contentment that does not interfere with rest. Joy no longer competes with calm. They coexist. As this night unfolds, your body allows itself to register this quiet goodness without excitement. The heart remains steady. The breath remains slow. The nervous system remains balanced. And in that steady presence, healing continues, not driven by desire for more, but sustained by appreciation of enough. By the 32nd chapter, one last habit dissolves, the habit of being alert while resting. For many bodies, rest has long been conditional. Even in stillness, some part remained on watch. Now, that watchfulness fades completely. This release is reflected in the deepest layers of the nervous system. Brainstem arousal centers reduce their baseline activity even during transitions. The system no longer prepares to wake before waking is required. Sleep becomes continuous rather than guarded. Physiological markers of this shift include longer, uninterrupted slow-wave sleep, fewer autonomic spikes, and sustained parasympathetic dominance. The heart rests fully. Breathing becomes effortless. Muscles remain relaxed without drift into collapse. The thalamus continues to gate sensory input confidently. Sounds and sensations are acknowledged without triggering orientation responses. The cortex remains offline long enough for uninterrupted repair. The night completes itself. This release extends into waking life as well. Moments of stillness during the day no longer provoke scanning. The body does not treat pauses as threats. Silence is neutral. Inactivity is allowed. Emotionally, this stage feels like permission. Permission to rest without justification. Permission to stop monitoring progress. Permission to let go of readiness when nothing is required. Cognitively, the mind stops rehearsing potential interruptions. Thought does not hover near action. Awareness can rest without leaning forward. This reduces mental fatigue and preserves clarity. Sleep at this stage does not require rituals or conditions. The body recognizes its own signals and responds. Darkness, stillness, and time are enough. Entry into sleep is unforced. Depth arrives naturally. Perhaps the most important aspect of this stage is trust. Not trust as belief, but trust as absence of checking. The body no longer needs reassurance. It knows what will happen next because it has happened consistently. By the 32nd chapter, healing has completed a long arc. From permission to rest, to restoration, to resilience, to maintenance, to quiet contentment, and now to unguarded stillness. As this night continues, your body rests without alertness, without rehearsal, without readiness, and in that complete release, healing is no longer something that happens during sleep. It is something that sleep itself expresses. By the 33rd chapter, healing expresses itself not as withdrawal from life, but as readiness without tension. The body no longer prepares by bracing. It prepares by staying available. This distinction reshapes how effort, movement, and decision arise. Physiologically, readiness without tension is marked by elastic responsiveness. Muscles maintain optimal length-tension relationships, allowing rapid engagement without pre-contraction. This reduces energy cost and prevents fatigue. Reaction is clean because interference has been removed. The nervous system supports this state through balanced excitability. Motor neurons respond promptly, while inhibitory pathways prevent spillover. This precision allows action to begin and end clearly. Effort completes itself instead of lingering as strain. Cardiovascular responses reflect this readiness. Heart rate accelerates appropriately with demand and decelerates quickly afterward. Blood vessels adjust tone smoothly. Oxygen delivery meets need without excess. The system prepares by staying efficient, not by staying activated. Breathing contributes through timing rather than force. Inhalations deepen when movement begins. Exhalations lengthen as movement ends. This respiratory flexibility signals safety and control, reinforcing parasympathetic balance even during activity. Cognitively, readiness without tension appears as clarity. Decisions are simpler because fewer internal signals compete for attention. Planning occurs without anxiety. Action follows intention without friction. The mind no longer needs to overcome resistance to engage. Emotionally, this state supports confidence without pressure. The body does not need to prove capacity. It knows it can respond. This knowledge is stored in physiology through repeated experiences of activation that resolved cleanly. Sleep continues to reinforce this readiness. Nightly rest restores elasticity across systems, ensuring that responsiveness remains fresh rather than forced. Each night resets tone, preventing accumulation. Importantly, this readiness is not constant engagement. It is availability. The body remains open to action without leaning into it. This conserves energy and preserves calm. You may notice that transitions feel easier. Standing up, speaking, deciding, beginning. None require buildup. Ending requires no recovery ritual. The body moves through life without dragging rest behind it or pushing action ahead of it. By the 33rd chapter, healing has taught the body how to be prepared without being tight. Life can be met directly without armor. As this night unfolds, your body rests in this elastic state, capable, responsive, and unburdened by anticipation. Healing continues by preserving this readiness, quietly and reliably. By the 34th chapter, a final integration occurs. Rest and action draw from the same foundation. There is no longer a sharp divide between the two. They are expressions of one stable system, changing shape as needed. Physiologically, this integration is evident in smooth state transitions. Neural networks that support rest and those that support engagement communicate efficiently. Switching costs are low. The brain does not need to reconfigure extensively to change states. The autonomic nervous system exemplifies this unity. Parasympathetic and sympathetic influences coordinate rather than compete. Activation rises cleanly and resolves fully. Rest resumes without residue. This cycle protects tissues and preserves capacity. Musculoskeletal systems benefit as well. Movement emerges from alignment rather than force. Rest returns without collapse. The same structures support both states, adapting their tone seamlessly. Metabolic processes reflect this foundation. Energy availability remains stable. Cells meet demand without overshoot. Recovery is built into use, not postponed until later. This prevents debt. Emotionally, rest and action feel compatible. Engagement does not threaten calm. Calm does not dull engagement. Feelings accompany activity without escalating. Presence accompanies rest without fading. Sleep continues to anchor this integration by maintaining system-wide coherence. Nightly cycles reset tone across the body, ensuring that both rest and action remain available without friction. Perhaps the most meaningful change is experiential. Life no longer feels like a sequence of recoveries between demands. It feels continuous. Effort arises and completes itself. Rest arises and completes itself. Neither interrupts the other. This does not eliminate challenge. It removes struggle with the state itself. The body no longer resists rest or pushes against action. Both are welcomed when appropriate. By the 34th chapter, healing has unified the body's responses. There is one system, capable of many expressions, grounded in stability. As this night continues, your body rests not to escape action, but to support it. And it engages not to escape rest, but to express capacity. In this shared foundation, healing persists, quiet, integrated, and sufficient, carrying you forward without tension, without debt, and without the need to separate who you are at rest from who you are in motion. By the 35th chapter, healing is no longer anchored to any single night. It has learned continuity. The body no longer treats each evening as a separate attempt at rest. Nights connect to one another, forming a reliable sequence that the nervous system expects and trusts. This expectation changes everything. When continuity is established, the brain reduces the effort it once spent preparing for sleep. The pre-sleep period softens naturally. Cortical activity slows earlier. The transition from wakefulness to rest becomes smoother because the brain no longer needs to negotiate with uncertainty. It recognizes the pattern and follows it. Physiologically, this is reflected in earlier melatonin onset and a more predictable decline in core body temperature. These signals tell cells across the body that nighttime processes can begin on schedule. Repair no longer waits. Maintenance does not rush. Timing aligns without instruction. The autonomic nervous system mirrors this confidence. Evening sympathetic tone declines reliably, allowing parasympathetic influence to rise without delay. Heart rate slows sooner. Breathing deepens earlier. Muscles release without requiring conscious relaxation. The body enters rest as if continuing a conversation rather than starting a new one. Sleep architecture benefits from this continuity. The first cycles of the night deepen more quickly, allowing slow-wave sleep to arrive without detours. This supports physical repair early, leaving later cycles available for emotional and cognitive integration. The night feels complete because it unfolds in the correct order. Immune and metabolic systems respond to this predictability by coordinating their work more efficiently. Inflammatory signaling remains low at rest. Glucose regulation follows circadian cues accurately. Cells receive clear instructions about when to repair and when to conserve. Less energy is wasted on ambiguity. Psychologically, continuity reduces performance pressure around sleep. There is no need to get it right tonight. The body knows that rest is not fragile. One imperfect evening does not undo the pattern. This belief is not cognitive reassurance. It is biological memory formed through repetition. You may notice that nights feel familiar, not boring, but dependable. The body settles without negotiation. The mind releases without effort. Dreams, when they occur, arise and resolve without intensity. Awakening leaves little residue. Continuity also extends into waking life. Because nights are predictable, days feel less urgent. The body does not rush to extract everything from the present moment. There will be another night, another rest. This reduces internal pressure and preserves energy. By the 35th chapter, healing has learned how to persist across time. It no longer relies on conditions being perfect. It relies on rhythm. Rhythm is resilient. As this night unfolds, your body rests with the confidence that rest will return again. Nothing needs to be rushed. Nothing needs to be secured. Continuity holds everything in place. And in that steady sequence of nights, healing continues, quietly, reliably, and without interruption. By the 36th chapter, a subtle but decisive shift occurs. The body stops measuring progress. Measurement implies comparison. Before and after, better and worse. Healing no longer requires that framework. It has moved beyond improvement and into stability. Earlier in the journey, signals of change were important. Reduced tension, deeper sleep, steadier energy. These markers guided the process. Now, those markers fade from awareness because the body no longer needs feedback to continue. It is not correcting. It is sustaining. Neural systems reflect this shift clearly. Circuits involved in self-monitoring reduce their background activity. The brain does not need to check whether systems are balanced. Interoceptive signals remain quiet because conditions are stable. Awareness rests without scanning. The endocrine system mirrors this non-measurement. Hormonal fluctuations remain within range, without dramatic peaks or troughs. There is no sense of catching up or compensating. Signals are clear, proportional, and unremarkable. That unremarkability is success. Muscles and posture also reflect the end of measurement. The body no longer checks alignment constantly. It trusts its structure. Movement arises without correction. Rest returns without collapse. Effort completes itself and dissolves. Sleep continues without evaluation. There is no internal commentary about quality or depth. The night unfolds as it does, and that is enough. This absence of evaluation reduces arousal and supports continuity. Emotionally, this stage feels neutral in the best sense. Not flat, but unburdened. Feelings arise without being compared to previous days. There is no internal scoreboard. Experience is allowed to be itself. Cognitively, attention becomes available rather than directed. The mind does not look for evidence of healing. It engages with what is present. This frees energy and reduces fatigue. Importantly, the absence of measurement does not mean stagnation. Maintenance is active. Cells continue to repair. Systems continue to coordinate. Healing continues precisely because it is not being watched. This stage often passes unnoticed because it produces no signal. And that is the point. The body has reclaimed responsibility for balance. Conscious awareness is no longer required to supervise it. By the 36th chapter, healing has become quiet enough to disappear from attention. Life resumes its ordinary texture, supported by a system that no longer needs to announce its work. As this night continues, your body rests without tracking, without comparison, without goals. Balance maintains itself. And in that unmeasured state, healing persists, steady, sufficient, and free from the need to prove itself. By the 37th chapter, healing reveals one of its most mature qualities: acceptance. Not acceptance as resignation, but acceptance as flexibility. The body no longer requires perfect conditions to remain well. Small inconsistencies, missed hours, or uneven days no longer disrupt balance. The system adapts without self-judgment. Physiologically, this acceptance is expressed through tolerance. Sleep pressure adjusts without urgency. If a night is shorter, recovery distributes itself calmly across the next cycle. The nervous system does not escalate in response to deviation. It absorbs it. Stress responses remain available, but they are brief and contained. The hypothalamic pituitary adrenal axis activates when needed and resolves cleanly. There is no prolonged alarm. Hormones return to baseline without effort. This prevents accumulation and preserves stability. Muscles reflect this tolerance as well. Minor tension does not spread. Localized strain resolves without recruiting the whole body. Posture adapts without rigid correction. Movement remains fluid, even when conditions vary. The brain benefits from this acceptance through reduced prediction error. It no longer expects perfection. When reality deviates from expectation, neural responses remain calm. This reduces cognitive load and preserves attention. Emotionally, acceptance appears as patience. The body does not rush to fix what is not broken. Feelings are allowed to exist without escalation. Frustration dissipates because it is not reinforced by physiological urgency. Sleep remains central to this acceptance. Nights are no longer graded, they are used. The body extracts what it needs without complaint. One night does not need to compensate for another. Rhythm persists. Importantly, acceptance strengthens resilience. Systems that tolerate variation recover faster and last longer. Perfection is brittle. Flexibility is durable. By the 37th chapter, healing has matured into adaptability. The body no longer demands ideal circumstances to remain balanced. It works with what is available. As this night unfolds, your body rests without evaluating conditions. It adapts. It absorbs. It continues. And in that acceptance, healing persists. Quietly resilient, capable of adjusting without losing itself. By the 38th chapter, healing no longer feels like something that has happened. It feels like something that simply is. The body has returned to its natural operating mode, one where maintenance, repair, and balance are ongoing, unremarkable processes. Physiologically, this state is defined by efficiency. Systems communicate clearly. Energy is conserved. Repair occurs continuously rather than episodically. There is no sense of effort around staying well. The nervous system remains centered. Activation and rest alternate without conflict. There is no background urgency. Calm does not need to be protected. It sustains itself. Sleep reflects this natural state. Entry into sleep is gentle. Depth arrives without struggle. Awakening is neutral. The night completes itself without narrative. Emotionally, experience feels grounded. Feelings arise and resolve. There is no need to amplify or suppress. The body processes emotion as information rather than threat. Cognitively, Attention is free. Thought is available, but not demanding. The mind does not circle around healing because healing no longer requires focus. Importantly, this state is not static. It is alive. Systems adjust continuously. Balance is dynamic. Healing persists because change is accommodated rather than resisted. By the 38th chapter, healing has shed its identity as a goal. It has become the background condition that supports everything else. As this night continues, your body rests in this natural state, maintaining itself quietly, responding when needed, and releasing when complete. Nothing needs to be achieved. Nothing needs to be fixed. Healing is simply happening, the way it always has when the body is given time, safety, and rest. By the 39th chapter, healing expresses itself as something profoundly simple. The body no longer carries today into tomorrow. Effort ends where it belongs. Experience completes itself. Nothing is stored unnecessarily. This is not forgetting. It is resolution. Physiologically, this shows up in how stress responses close their loops. Activation begins when required and ends when its purpose is fulfilled. The nervous system does not keep background tension just in case. Muscles release fully. Breathing returns to baseline. Heart rhythm settles without delay. The body finishes what it starts. Neuroscientifically, memory systems support this closure. During sleep, emotional and sensory information is integrated without being reactivated. The hippocampus completes its sorting. The cortex stores meaning without urgency. When morning arrives, the brain is not burdened with unfinished processing. Awareness feels clear because nothing is pending. Hormonal systems reflect this trust as well. Cortisol follows its natural arc without overshoot. Adrenal output quiets completely at night. The endocrine system does not prepare for tomorrow by staying active. It prepares by resting. Sleep architecture continues to reinforce this closure. REM cycles complete emotional integration. Slow-wave sleep finishes physical restoration. There is no sense of incompleteness upon waking. The night has done its work. Emotionally, this stage feels like lightness without excitement. Not relief from struggle, but absence of load. The body does not anticipate the next demand with tension. It expects continuity, not repetition of strain. This trust in tomorrow changes perception. Time feels less compressed. The future does not press against the present. Attention rests where it is rather than leaning forward. This conserves energy and preserves calm. Importantly, this trust is biological, not philosophical. The body has learned, through repetition, that rest will return, that effort resolves, that nothing needs to be held overnight, that learning changes behavior automatically. By the 39th chapter, healing has taught the body a final lesson. Nothing must be carried forward unless it is useful. Everything else can end. As this night unfolds, your body rests with no unfinished business. Today has been processed. Tomorrow does not need preparation. And in that clean separation between days, healing continues, quietly completing cycles, releasing what is done, and making space for what comes next. This final chapter is not a conclusion in the usual sense. Nothing ends here. Nothing resolves dramatically. Instead, the process fades, by design, into simplicity. Healing no longer needs explanation. The body rests, because rest is what it does when nothing interferes. There is no new system engaging tonight, no deeper layer unfolding. Everything that needed to happen is already in motion. Cells maintain themselves. Organs coordinate quietly. The nervous system holds balance without effort. Breathing moves on its own, slow and unremarkable. The heart beats steadily, unmonitored. Muscles remain soft without instruction. The brain drifts between rhythms, unconcerned with where it is or what comes next. Sleep arrives not as a destination, but as a continuation. Consciousness loosens its grip without ceremony. There is no threshold to cross, just less thinking, less holding, less doing. At this stage, words become unnecessary. The body does not need guidance. It does not need reassurance. It knows this place. Healing is no longer something happening to you. It is something happening as you. And so the narration becomes quieter. Pauses lengthen. Sentences soften. You do not need to listen anymore. You do not need to follow anything. Your body is already doing exactly what it needs to do. Safe, steady, at rest. And as the night continues, there is nothing left to explain. Only sleep, deepening on its own, carrying everything forward without effort, without awareness. Until even these words gently fade. The voice softens even more now. Longer pauses, fewer words. There is nothing left to follow, nothing left to understand. Your body has already taken over. Breathing continues on its own, slow, even, unnoticed. The heart keeps its gentle rhythm, steady, reliable, without asking for attention. Thoughts no longer need to finish. They can dissolve mid-sentence, like mist thinning in the early morning air. You are not doing this. Sleep is not something you enter. It is something that arrives when effort is no longer required. And now, effort has fully fallen away. You are safe now, safe enough to drift, safe enough to let go. Nothing needs to be held. Nothing needs to be carried forward, just drifting, deeper and deeper. You are safe now. Drift away. Drift away. The night continues on its own. The body continues on its own. And this quiet, this stillness remains long after the voice is gone.